Hi guys, how are you? I am sitting here, and so this entire week I have really been talking about excuses and time and all of that. But one thing strikes me is that you guys just might not know how to do time management. Some people might need help with it. We have like 50 million things that we do on a daily basis. So, I think that this is something that is beneficial for just about everybody. So when I was in Destin, Florida, for the leadership retreat last September, we had representation from corporate headquarters come in, and Kim Carver gave an amazing talk. He is really good, and he really broke this down, and I think that this is just such a valuable tool for everybody. So I figured I would just go ahead and go live and make sure that I can help you guys out if I can. Hang on, I'm just sharing this to my business page as well, so more people can get in on this. All right. Okay, sorry. I am sharing that now. All right. And I wanted to do that while I'm live in case anybody wanted to hop on live on my business page. So here is the deal. So this is the best way to do this. If you're going to do it along with me, I think that it is better to have a piece of paper in front of you. And then what I'm going to do is talk you through it so you know how to do this. Now, I recommend that you would use something along the lines of like I used my Google Calendar once I actually finalized things, but I started off with a piece of paper to kind of like just help me get my system in place, and then I plugged it in on my Google Calendar. All right, so here's the deal. All right, so you're gonna wanna take a piece of paper, and you're gonna draw lines like this. You want 5 different buckets. These are gonna be your different categories, your different buckets. These buckets, you're going to the first step is to give each a name, okay? So I have things like personal, family, I have home and other activities as a third bucket, so home and other activities. And then I have 2 categories that are actually for my business. So personally, I have personal activities, and then I have activities that I do for my team. So those are my 5 buckets, whatever they are for you. So you have to think about what you do, right? So some of you work, so that would be, some of you work and some of you work multiple jobs. So that would be one of your buckets. I recommend having a family/friends category just because you want to make sure that you're allotting time. Basically, you want to create 5 buckets. Sorry, 5, not 10. 5 buckets that you can fit your life into, okay? So when you're allotting out your time, you'll use these 5 buckets, and we're gonna color code them as well because, it's so makes it easier when you're looking at your calendar to see what color. And you're actually going to lot out every hour of your day. So it does make it really, really simple for you. And then, you go through and you'll adjust as needed and all of that. All right, so you need to think of your 5 buckets and give them all a name. Okay, so and literally, like you can see at the bottom, I have my buckets. I actually drew buckets, right? Draw the buckets. And then name them. I put, and then you want to rank your, you actually want to rank them in order. So personally, I put personal as my number 1 bucket. And I know that sounds awful because I'm putting myself before my family in this case. However, I personally feel that if I am not personally at my best, then I cannot be a good wife, I cannot be a good friend, I can't be a good mother, I can't be a good daughter. So I need to make sure that I am focusing and taking care of myself first. And then it's just like whenever the flight attendants tell you to put on your mask first. Same concept. Okay, so in my So then you're gonna wanna take your categories and give them a color. Just pick a color, doesn't matter what they are. I gave my personal one blue, I gave my family yellow because they make me happy. Blue is my favorite color, that's why I gave it personal. Work and home, not work, other activities and home, I gave red because red to me seems like bleh, but it's a necessary evil. I gave my personal Beachbody business green because that's where the money comes in. And then the last one was my team Beachbody, and I just gave that orange because again, that makes me happy. That gives me, you know, so that's another happy color in my mind. And okay, so it doesn't really matter what colors you use. I mean, you don't have to have any sort of system for this whatsoever, but when you go to plug it into your Google Calendar, you will use a color system for it. So you need to make sure that you allot at least a color. Not a huge important thing there, but like I said, I use colors that are attractive to me for different categories, and I relate to the different categories. All right, now, what I want you to do is now take the categories and break them down, okay? So you're actually going to look, so for example, in my personal category, you want to write down 3 to 5 things that you need to do within that category that you will allow you to maximize your time. So just to give you an example, my personal category, I have number 1, workout. 2, I have personal development. 3 is meal planning. 4, shower and relax. Shower is always a good one. And relaxing. And 5, sleep. People don't plan enough sleep. Sleep is super important. And I want to make sure that I get enough sleep because I cannot function without it. I'm not one of those people who can function on like 4 hours of sleep. I need 7 to 8 or else I'm dead. Okay, then if you think about, so like then I go into family, all right? So 3 activities that I have in there would be things like date night, activities with Jordan, dinner time. Dinner time should be a family thing, right? So you're gonna wanna, put time in there and you build in time for that. All right, then when I go into like home and other activities, I have things like cleaning, doing the groceries, teaching, when I teach my classes, that's a part of that category. Cooking meals, right? Like these are things that you want to put in, and you want to make sure that every activity that you do fits into one of these 5 categories that you are using on your calendar. The reason is because you need to sit down then and plan out your entire day. You will do it a week at a time, but you want to block off time. So that way, when you think about this, okay, so one thing I found, and this is where I really think it helped me the most, one thing I would find I was doing is I would be sitting in my office, plugging away at work and be like, oh man, I really need to go do this. Oh man, I forgot that I need to water my plants today. And I'd get up from whatever task I was working on and go do that. And then I'd be in the kitchen and I'd be like, oh, I should really just do these dishes really quick. And then I'd come back into the, office afterwards, and I'd be like, oh man, I haven't run the vacuum in the living room for a really long time. And then, so it was just like a chain reaction, and I would never get done what I needed to get done in a day as far as my work went. And so I was finding that at the end of the day, by the time that Joey and Jordan would get home, especially on the days when I don't have Jordan, I need to maximize my time so that I can bust out as much work as I can while they're not here, so that then in the evening I can focus on them. Okay, so I was finding that like by the time they get home, I still have like 2 hours of work that I needed to do because I had been doing things that were not in line with my goals at that point. Okay, so at that point, I was like, I gotta do something here. So basically by giving this time throughout each day, it really helped me to say, okay, I'm going to work from this time to this time on this activity or on this part of my business or whatever, because in my head, I knew that I had already allotted an hour later on in the day for me to do the dishes, water the plants, run the vacuum, get the laundry started, whatever it was. But I had allotted myself time to do that. So I wasn't sitting here then thinking, oh, I should really go do that, because I knew that I was going to have an alert go off and tell me, hey, stop doing what you're doing now. You need to move on to this activity next. You've allotted this time. You've used up all your time for the other activity, and that's that. So, and I tried to stick with those blocks of time consistently. So, and I promise you, the first week that you do this is going to be a complete shit show. You're not going to follow it exactly. You're going to be like, oh, I forgot about this activity. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I forgot about this. And that's fine. It's going to adjust. The first 2, 3, 4 even weeks are going to be a little bit of a mess, but you want to try to figure it out. All right, so after so now you have created your categories, you have assigned a color to it, you have added in the top 3 to 5 activities in that category that you're going to do to maximize the time that you use for that. And basically, you need to figure out what activities are important to you in a day. You need to figure out what things you're doing that are wasting your time. Sitting there scrolling through a Facebook feed is waste of time. I mean, there's times where I'll sit there and I allot myself time to sit and mindlessly scroll. I do that. Partly though, I mean, it's never mindless for me because there's always interactions that I'm involved in and things like that, because I do run a business through social media. So, but I do allot myself time to just veg out and not do anything, right? So I might say, okay, I'm going to play my stupid, I don't even know what the heck is called, Bubble Witch Saga or something for 15 minutes tonight, because I have, I've allotted myself that time to play my stupid game. All right. So then after you have created your categories, assigned a color, and found your 3 to 5 things that fit in that category, you're going to cut everything else out because everything else is not important. And then you need to sit down and think about how much time per week that you need to allot for each activity. So this is going to be a time-consuming activity to actually lay out, right? So when I think about my personal category, I want to do at least, my workouts are going to be at least 30 minutes every single day. So I plan that in. If I'm doing a different program, then I have to reevaluate my system, right? So, but I have, 30 minutes of a workout. I do 15 minutes of personal development every single day. Meal planning, if you watched my video the other day, it doesn't take me that long, but I do like to sit down and do that. That's 15 minutes once a week. Shower, relax. I try to, allow myself, I know that it's going to be about half an hour. If I have to wash my hair, it's going to be about an hour. So I actually allot an hour for me to shower and get ready every single day, because I figured I'd overestimate than under. And then sleep, right? So I know I want to get 7 hours of sleep at least a night. I allot that in, right? So after I had figured all of that out, and I have the number here, and I don't remember how exactly I did, but I have 66 hours per week listed. 66, that's crazy, right? And then I do the same thing for each item in every category, okay? So I have like 16 hours per week devoted to family, 20 hours for teaching and hobbies and stuff like that. I have, I just keep going, right? So you sit down with each thing and think, how long do I need to accomplish that goal and accomplish what I need to in that little time frame, okay? After you are all done with that, you need to sit down and you need to actually start blocking off your calendar. So many of you already have work. I mean, that should be in your home activities work category, because that's always kind of lumped into one, right? Or one of your 4th or 5th can be work. Especially if you do, so for example, yours could be personal, family, home and activities, work. And then if you do like a side job, because I know I have a lot of people on here who've got that side hustle going on, you can have that as your 5th. If you are trying to think of what else you could do, maybe you play I don't even know, maybe you play softball or whatever. But you have to think about, what's important for you. So after you do that, you need to sit down and you need to block off, and you do your biggest blocks first. So sleep, you're gonna block, literally, you put this on your calendar. I know it sounds silly, but I have a reminder that pops up every day at my bedtime, 10 minutes to go. It's like wrap things up and get yourself upstairs and go to bed. So that I know I make sure I get enough sleep before I have to get up the next day. And then you block that off on your calendar. And I know it seems very restrictive to do this, but if you have an issue with time management, then you need to do something restrictive like this at first. And then you'll find where you can adjust and how you need to slide things, okay? So you block off work. So if you work 8 hours a day, you need to put in what your start time is and your end time. That is first. That's the first thing you do, because the only free time you have is outside of that time. Block off work, block off sleep, and then you go from there. And then you squeeze in, okay, so, personally, I know I put me first because I know, again, I want to make sure I get my workout in every day. It helps me be a better person. It reduces my stress. It keeps me happy. 30 minutes is all I generally do. At home, whenever I teach, that's different. I have a different category for that. So I go through then and I plug in where I can fit in my workout, where I'm gonna do my personal development, when I'm gonna do my meal planning, when I'm gonna take my showers. And then I already mentioned sleep. And then I'm gonna plug in activities that I do with Jordan, like taking him out to the park, dinner time, meal prep time also comes in with like the at-home activities and things like that. So you plug in all of these little things and then you look at how much time you have left. All right. So once you get your calendar laid out, you can see where you have flexibility and where you don't, and you might want to switch things around the next week. But my challenge to you is to do all of this and then try to stick with that schedule for a week. And just see how it goes. And you may find that you are so far off or you forgot something so major that you're really shocked that you forgot about it. And sometimes you'll say, I allotted all of this time for cleaning and I just really don't need that much time. I really don't. If I do a little bit every day, it doesn't, it's not as bad. Whatever the case is, you might find that you allot too much time for certain activities and not enough for others. And so you're going to have to adjust. But I feel like when you put it down on paper, you put it on your calendar and you follow it, it's almost just like you have a meeting with your boss, right? You're not going to cancel on your boss. You're going to stick with that calendar. So if you treat this the same way, you will find that you get more accomplished in a day because you know that you're not stopping tasks and restarting tasks because you have to go take a pause and go do something else because you have already allotted that time for that other activity. All right, so I hope that all made sense. It really was super helpful for me. I found that I really just functioned so much better when I had something telling me what to do. Especially, being that, I work for myself. And so sometimes it's really hard to stay on task. Sometimes I really just want to sit there and continue watching Friends on Netflix. Like you're not perfect all the time, but, when you build in the time for these activities, you will get a lot more accomplished. And I know personally now that Jordan's not in school, I need to sit down and redo my calendar so that I can get more accomplished. I'm probably gonna have to start getting up earlier in the morning to make sure that I get as much done as I need to. Because again, I don't have that 2.5 hours twice a week that he is gone, that additional time I should say, because he's already at my in-laws 2 days. But that 2.5 hours was huge for me. And I really got pretty much everything I needed to get done for my business done during that time. And now I'm not gonna have that. So I need to make adjustments to my schedule and make sure that I can get it all in. I don't want to be stressed. I'm a miserable person when I'm stressed out. And then of course it comes out on, I take it out on my family and on my friends, and I just kind of like sink back into a little hole, and I don't want to do anything or don't want to commit to anything because I feel like I'm so busy. I can't even accomplish what I need to, let alone add in like fun stuff, right? So that's it. So here's your things. This is just a quick recap, and then I'm gonna sign off. You have 5 categories that you're going to do. You need to name them, assign a color for them, figure out the top 3 to 5 things that you need to accomplish in each of those categories weekly, and assign the weekly time allotment for each item. And then, only then, after you have those 4 things done, is whenever you plug it all into your calendar. And then you're gonna wanna adjust. You can slide things. Like I said, I use the Google Calendar and I like it a lot because it syncs with my phone then, for my email, and it will sync, and it literally, I can pop up alerts and it will tell me when to stop whatever activity I'm doing and move on. So I really like that one. But if you use a different calendar system, knock your socks off, whatever works for you. So that's it, guys. I really hope that this was helpful. If it was helpful, let me know. Or if you have questions, again, let me know. If you think it was even more helpful, feel free to share it because, sharing is caring. All right, guys, I hope that you have a fantastic Wednesday. We're almost to the weekend, a long holiday weekend, so I'm sure many of you are super excited. But that's it, guys. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.